My latest sun is sinking down. My race is nearly run. My strongest trials now have passed. My triumph has begun. Oh, come, angel band, come and surround me, stand. Oh, bear me away on your snowy wings to my immortal home. Oh, bear me away on your snowy wings to my immortal home. So good day, y'all. How's everybody doing? We're doing another episode of Confessions of a Mad Redneck, and today's episode of Confessions of a Mad Redneck is the conservative case for cooperatives. And you know, the left has been talking about cooperatives for a couple of years now, and there's lots of people trying to create cooperatives in different cities across the country, and it's kind of been associated with left-wing anti-capitalist movements. But I want to say that I think it's there's as much argument from the conservative side as from the liberal side. So one of the things about conservatism is that conservatism values independence, self-sufficiency, small government, and taking care of yourself and your community. And there's this author, his name is Hilaire Belloc, and he's a Anglo-French author, and he made the argument back in the turn of the 20th century that what we were heading to was the servile state, which was a form of slavery. And he said that in a capitalist society that there was ownership by the few, so only a few very wealthy capitalists owned everything. And in a communist or socialist society, there was ownership by no one, or by a bureaucracy of political operatives, and that people would end up in a situation where they were serving either a few capitalists or a political system, and this was all leading to servility. And I don't know if we really ever got to a moment of servility. I think that there was never any coerced working for the state or for capitalists, but I do think that work was incentivized to work for these big type of entities. And Hilaire Belloc's argument was that we don't need ownership by the few or ownership by no one, but we need ownership by the many. And I think this finds congruence in some American ideas, such as the agrarianism of Thomas Jefferson, who believed that yeoman farmers were the basis of democracy, and his idea was small rural farms would be the basis for a democratic society. And I think it's not unique to argue for the ownership by the many, but I do think that cooperatives are a way to accomplish this ownership by many people. But one of the things that Belloc argued, and I think that has to happen now, is that there needs to be some form of land reform or a distributive state in which the means of production are distributed to regular everyday people. And I think the idea of land reform is found both on the right and the left. If you look at the Ammon and Cliven Bundy's arguments about public land, that the BLM shouldn't control so much land, and that it should be redistributed to the people. And you can also look across the globe in places like Indonesia, in which public land was turned over to poor peasants as a way to reduce poverty. I think there's some congruence around the idea of land reform and redistributing the means of production to regular everyday people so that we can have ownership by the many. So I think if you look at a place like Alabama, the number one industry in Alabama is timber, and 65% of the timberland in Alabama is owned by people who do not live within the state of Alabama. And imagine if redistributing that timberland to poor people in Alabama, that productive land to poor people in Alabama of all races, creeds, colors, and politics, how that would benefit those people and lead to less poverty. So, and also allow them to be independent and to work and control their own businesses. So I think that the cooperative movement, and specifically land reform to support cooperatives, would find purchase on both the left and the right. And I think it's something that we could, in this time of dramatic polarization where nobody agrees on anything and each side demonizes the other side, this is the potential to bring us together to fight for something in common. So that's the end of the vlog for today. This is Zach Henson, McCalla, Alabama, November 4th, 2016.